My wife thought I wouldn't act. She mistook my silence for weakness. I didn't confront her, I triggered an audit and let the system she trusted expose her. I didn't confront my wife. I let the system she trusted do it instead. I first realized something was wrong the day my wife thanked me for being understanding. Not loving. Not supportive. Understanding. It was a strange word to use for a marriage that had supposedly been solid for 12 years. We were sitting at our kitchen table. Morning light spilled across the surface, catching dust in the air. She was scrolling through her phone while I drank coffee that had gone cold. "I'm really grateful," she said without looking up. "Most men wouldn't handle this so maturely." "Handle what?" I asked. She glanced up, surprised. Then she smiled in that way people do when they think you're slow, not when they think you're dangerous. "My promotion," she said. "The extra travel. The pressure." I nodded. What she didn't know was that the night before, I'd seen an email she forgot to delete. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't explicit. It was worse. It was procedural. The first lie was small. My wife, Elaine, worked in corporate compliance for a healthcare company, ethics, audits, internal investigations. She loved rules the way some people love power tools. She didn't build things. She dismantled them. She used to joke that her job was finding the crack that brings the wall down. When she told me she'd been promoted to senior director, I was genuinely proud. The salary bump was real. The title impressive. The travel came later. "Just a few weeks a quarter," she said. "Mostly Chicago. Sometimes Denver." I believed her. Why wouldn't I? Then the trips got longer. Then more frequent. Then less specific. "I don't know yet," she'd say when I asked where she was going. "They're still finalizing things." One night, she left her laptop open on the couch while she showered. I wasn't snooping. I was returning it to her bag when a message popped up. HR Compliance Review, External Consultant Coordination. The sender wasn't from Chicago. The name was unfamiliar. The subject line was careful. I opened it. That's where I learned my wife wasn't traveling alone. Not an affair. A partnership. The emails were meticulous. Not flirtatious. Not affectionate. Efficient. She and a man named Victor, an external consultant, were coordinating audits, site visits, and private working sessions. But the timestamps didn't match the calendar she shared with me. Hotel receipts were billed as single occupancy. Travel reimbursements duplicated. Expenses rounded cleanly to avoid flags. This wasn't cheating. This was something she thought was smarter than cheating. I didn't confront her. Instead, I copied everything. The more I looked, the worse it got. I work in systems architecture. I don't break into things. I observe patterns. And patterns tell stories. Over the next 3 weeks, I learned. Victor was not contracted through approved vendors. His consulting firm didn't exist outside a shell LLC. He traveled exclusively with Elaine. His reports were always reviewed by her, never peer-checked. Most disturbing of all. She had authority over audits involving her own department. That's not unethical. That's illegal. And she knew it. She thought I was weak. There's a certain way people look at you when they believe you won't act. Elaine developed it slowly. She started correcting me in front of friends. She joked about my tech cave when people asked what I did. She referred to our money as my income and your savings. When HR sent a congratulatory email to spouses, yes, they did that, she forwarded it to me with a note. "Thanks for being supportive. I know this is an adjustment." I replied with one word. Always. That wasn't a promise. It was a warning. The system she trusted. Elaine believed in processes. She trusted forms. Committees. Compliance officers. She had built her career on the assumption that rules protected the people who enforced them. She never considered what happened when those same rules were applied to her. I didn't report her. I didn't threaten her. I submitted an anonymous internal audit request. Perfectly formatted. Perfectly boring. Perfectly damning. I attached nothing. Just asked the right questions. The first meeting. Elaine came home late one night, pale and quiet. "They're doing a review," she said, pouring a glass of wine with shaking hands. "Random. Routine." I nodded. "That happens." She watched me carefully. "You're not worried?" "No," I said. "Should I be?" She looked away. Victor disappeared. 3 days later, she stopped mentioning Victor. A week later, his LinkedIn went dark. 2 weeks after that, she was suddenly working from home until further notice. One evening, she sat across from me at the same kitchen table and said, "Have you ever felt like people were trying to take something from you?" I met her eyes. "Only when they think it belongs to them." She didn't sleep that night. HR called me. They didn't say why. Just that they required my presence as a spouse for a formal discussion. Elaine didn't ask me not to go. She already knew. The conference room. There were 4 people in the room. Elaine. 2 compliance officers. And me. They laid it out gently. Unauthorized contracting. Conflict of interest. Falsified expense reports. Misuse of authority. Elaine tried to explain. She always had. They didn't interrupt. Then one officer turned to me. "Were you aware of any of this?" I said, "No." It was the only lie I told. She finally looked at me. Not with anger. With fear. Not because she was losing her job. But because she realized something worse. She had underestimated me. The aftermath. Elaine resigned to pursue other opportunities. Victor was fined and barred from future contracts. The company avoided scandal. I moved out 2 weeks later. No yelling. No confrontation. No drama. Just paperwork. The last thing she said. As I packed my things, she stood in the doorway. "You let this happen," she said. I smiled. "No," I replied. "I let it finish."